It's the Royal Oak Show with Carlo Giannotti. Tonight's guests from the Royal Oak Public Library, Metta Lansdale and Mary Karshner. Author C.H. Miller and comedian Dave Landau. With a special message from Mr. Positive. And now, Carlo Giannotti!
All right. Thank you so much. That was a very warm welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, Andy Aubrey. Let's give it up for Andy over there. Andy, we've got another great show in store for us tonight. We've got Metta Lansdale and Mary Karshner from the Royal Oak Public Library. We've got a renowned Royal Oak author, C.H. Miller. And we've got a return guest. We've got David Landau, a comedian, coming back for a second time on the Royal Oak Show here. Is it any wonder why I'm very geeked tonight, Andy?
Geeked is the word. Absolutely. I can feel the geekness. I mean, geeky. Never mind. Yeah, it's a great show.
Is there any reason why we're together, ladies and gentlemen? This guy, we're like a married couple, sort of like a married couple. Andy, you've had a rough weekend this weekend, I would imagine, with some things happen.
Another weekend, another loss for the Lions. What are you gonna do?
I'll tell you. You know, I know that you are a dyed-in-the-wool Lions fan, and I am too. I mean, year after year we suck it up and we keep up with the Lions, and they're not going to do so bad, I would imagine. Although the other day I had my car in the parking lot and it got broken into. I had 2 Lions tickets on the dashboard, and when I came back there were 6. So, you like that one, Patty? That was a good joke. Okay. I'll tell you, no, it was a close game. It was a very close game, and what can you say? Let's not talk about it anymore.
That's right. Maybe the Lions can get Allen Iverson or something.
That could be too. Maybe they can pull a quarterback in from retirement. Maybe that would help out.
Yeah. Maybe there's a thought. Jeez.
Andy. One more story I have about the Lions. Pat Robertson and the Lions. What do they have in common?
No, what's that?
They are the only 2 people that I know that can get 85,000 people to simultaneously stand up and yell out the Lord's name in vain.
Yes.
Andy, we have another historic event coming up. Not to make this show timely at all or anything, but it's being televised, let's say, in the early part of November. Tomorrow is an event that we're all waiting for with bated breath, and I happen to have the results of the election right here.
Is that right?
Yes,
Interesting.
I will. But I'm not going to share it with you because the next show I'll tell you who won and I'll tell you the exact votes, and it's in this sealed envelope.
Okay, good. Now, can I expect that you, as always, will be voting for Ralph Nader?
Yes, of course. Year after year, I vote for Ralph Nader. I wait in lines.
Keep trying.
The rest of us.
I mean, one of these years.
Andy, you've got some exciting things to tell us about what's going on and about Royal Oak before we get into the guest tonight, I would imagine.
I do.
Has anything changed? Do you still have some interesting things happening in Royal Oak?
Royal Oak's a happening place, and I'm about to prove it right now. So
there is no reason why anybody will be bored after they hear what my good friend Andy has to say. With that, ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Andy. He's going to tell us what's happening in Royal Oak.
Well, thank you, Carlo. The Royal Oak Holiday Datebook is as follows. The 7th Annual Holiday Magic Parade is back with over 55 floats and lots of live entertainment. It's also Santa's first stop in Metro Detroit. There's free parking in downtown until 2 p.m. on Parade Day, which is November 22nd, 10 a.m. on Washington Avenue at royaloakorchestra.org. Many more links on the Royal Oak groups are featured on the royaloakshow.com. Visit them for more information, and with that, we'll send it back to Carlo Giannotti.
All right, thank you, Andy. Thank you very much. We have with us, and we're very honored to have with us, 2 young ladies from the Royal Oak Public Library. We have, of course, Metta Lansdale, the director of the Royal Oak Public Library, and we have Mary Karshner, who is the head or the director of the Children and Teen Services there at the library. Ladies, thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much for coming on the show. Now, it's a big honor for me to have both of you on the show because, as you know, I am a big supporter of the library. I've always loved that we've had such a high-quality library, and I have my son out in the audience who's, I think he's still awake out there, I'm not sure. Yeah. But Mary, he's taken part in many of the programs that you have to offer. So with that, I'm really happy that you guys are here.
Thank you.
Metta, since you're the head guy, how long have you been the director of the library?
2.5 years.
2.5 years.
Since July of '06.
Oh, yeah. And what brought you to Royal Oak? Other than that job offer and and a paycheck, yeah. But why did you, since you've come to Royal Oak, I know that you've made some great improvements and you've got a vision, and we're going to get into that in a little while. But why the Royal Oak Public Library? Why is it so special to you?
Well, Royal Oak is a happening place. I mean, that is really why it's special. And there's so many cool things happening here. And when the position was announced, I must have had 3 or 4 people come up to me within 24 hours and say, you got to look at this, because this is a cool community and the library needs you. I mean, really and truly, people told me that. And what's fun about Royal Oak is there's so many artists and musicians and all kinds of folks that are involved with the arts communities, and the library is very much part of that. And I was really looking forward to seeing how I could get the library more involved with the rest of the cultural community in Royal Oak and get those people more involved with the library.
And that's what led you to the Royal Oak Show, too, because you know that Andy and I are the heart of the cultural community here in Royal Oak.
So that's what I hear, yeah.
No, but all kidding aside, Andy is really the center of the cultural society.
I can tell by looking at him.
You like that hairdo?
I do.
I can read.
In a book.
Yeah.
Mary, I don't want to leave you over there all by yourself. I know that your department, too. I mean, when people think of a library, they think of mainly books, obviously, but they think of kids, too. They think of people coming to the library, bringing their children, and they, let them run wild, if you will, and let the children's imagination run wild. And that's something that the Royal Oak Public Library has tried to promote, too. I mean, it's a children's place. It's a safe haven for kids to come and learn. Now, what do you do? What does your department do? What is it that you try to promote?
We cover all children up through high school, actually, in our department. And
that's fine. That happens all the time.
we do both connecting them up with books for pleasure and books for homework, but also we do a lot of programs so that they're attracted to come into the library and they have a good time. They're comfortable there. It isn't a sort of place. It's many things for them to do and engage in and be comfortable in the library so that they come to use us as a resource for information of all levels.
One of the neat things I like about the public library is that, the Royal Oak Public Library, I should say, is when it went through the remodeling, you moved the children's section, if you will, to a place where, as you said, you don't have to keep the kids quiet. I mean, anybody who hasn't been there should, first of all, go to the library. But to bring your children there, you bring them downstairs. And it's a nice area where the kids can literally not run wild, but they can run around and do what they want in a protected atmosphere. Does that help a little bit as far as the promotional?
Absolutely. Well, it gave us more space. And another thing that we worried about, not in addition to the noise heading over and disturbing adults, but a thing we worried about was kids could so easily just go out the doors of the library in the old position where the children's area was. Now downstairs, it's a kid's world down there. And
it is, and it's really
wonderful.
neat. You get the study rooms off to the side. I know that my son comes by once or twice a week, and he uses a little room over in the back. But so those are just to name a few of the things that you guys have done. And I know that you don't do it all alone. You have a library board, too, of dedicated people, and you have a steering committee of dedicated people with vision. But you two, at least, are the focal point of the library. I know you're going to say, no, I'm not. But Metta, tell me where the library is now and where you want to take it. And where do you see the library in 5 years?
Well, I don't want to limit this to 5 years. Do I have to?
How about
Say
100
no.
years? Say a century.
That's right.
Where do you see this in the year
The next 30 seconds through the
3028?
next 100 years, the Royal Oak Library is going to make Royal Oak a better place. And in terms of fostering additional cultural development, advertising those things and having those things brought in, but also contributing to the economic development of the community. That's really so important for any public library, and that, I think, is probably where the library has the most room for growth. And what we are truly working on and looking at different things in a very creative way. With the economy being what it is, people come to the library. I mean, if you lose your job, you're probably going to start looking around in your home for things that you can cut down in terms of your expenses. Purchase of books, purchase of DVDs, and possibly that internet connection would be things that you would consider in order to reduce your expenses. And then what are you going to do? You still are going to want to watch those DVDs. You're certainly going to want to read, and you certainly want to get onto the internet. And so the Royal Oak Library, as well as libraries all over the country, are now seeing an increase in that sort of utilization. So the library is there to support people when they're in transition, and it's also there to support business development, businesses, people in the community that want to start up a new business, or people who want to expand their business, go into a new market. The library has free resources that are unparalleled, that they can come in, and many people don't know this. So that's our area for growth right now.
Well, I can tell you've got a lot of things on your plate, and you're really excited about the library. And one of the things that that I find amazing, and I'm sure you do too, is that especially in the world of internet, and there's TV now and cable, people still enjoy coming to the library and shall I say it, sit down and read a book.
Well,
I mean, do you find that to be amazing sometimes?
That is what the library is all about. And when I promote the library, I truly am promoting reading and books. And the technology and the internet is a steady drumbeat in the back of that reading, which is the primary purpose of the library in many respects. And that's what people think of first when they think of going to the library. They think about the books. And so what we have is the internet is there. People expect it to be there. It's there, and it's functioning extremely well. The online catalog is there. And what the technology does is it helps you get to the book faster. It helps you figure out what book you want, and helps you actually communicate with the library in terms of what books we don't have that you might like to have.
We're going to talk in the next section, the next segment, I should say, in detail about some of the programs that you have now, and Mary, and some of the programs that you'd like to schedule. But one of the things that I'd like you to stress now, and maybe the last 30 seconds we have, is how user-friendly the Royal Oak Library is. I mean, you have a new website, and we're going to give that out in a little while, but when you talk about technology, people who are afraid of technology should not be afraid. Is that an accurate statement?
First of all, the website is pretty extraordinary in my view, and does help you through there. But we do offer classes. People can come in, and we actually still offer classes helping people learn how to use that mouse for the first time.
Good.
And so starting from that right up to, we'll talk about it later on, but right up to learning how to use some of the very high-tech resources that are only available online.
Excellent. In the next segment, we're going to be right back in just a little while, and we're going to talk specifically about what you can do for people who want to just come in and browse around. Mm-hmm. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back with Metta Lansdale and Mary Karshner. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Royal Oak Show. Metta, we have Metta Lansdale and Mary Karshner still with us today. We weren't able to chase them away, and we have good news. We've fixed Mary's microphone, so now I can actually ask her questions. And let's start right off with some of the programs. I know we teased the audience enough. Let's get right into it. And I have, in my handy little arsenal of posters here, a poster that I'd like to show the people out in TV land. We'll let them look at it for a little while. And Metta, if you could explain, this is the Museum Adventures Pass program.
Yes, it is.
And I'm going to take this down now. What is the Museum Adventure Pass program?
Museum Adventure Pass program is one of the most fabulous collaborations you will see anywhere in the country Started in Minneapolis, the inspiration of Macy's. And they experimented successfully in Minneapolis with this and then brought it to southeastern Detroit. It's a collaboration of Macy's and the Library of Michigan and the museums in southeastern Michigan. And what this enables us to do is we have, for the participating museums, we have a panel that has a barcode on it. People that can come into their public library and select the museum of their choice. They take this chit over to the circulation desk and they check it out on their borrowing card, and it's a free pass for 2 or for 4 people, depending on the museum. And so if you have guests coming in from out of town, or if you want to try out a museum you hadn't thought about using in the past, you can use this and have a good time for the weekend. It's absolutely fabulous.
So you can actually then check out tickets to a museum, just like you would a
Correcto.
book. So you are truly going to that next step. You know, you can go in and read a book the old-fashioned way. You can look for magazines. You can also rent movies or videos. But you can also broaden your horizon and maybe take a trip to a museum. What are, Mary, is this something that mainly that you would see in the children's and teen section, or is this open to everyone?
Open to everybody.
Okay.
And I think many adults take advantage of it too. It's your chance to sample these different places without having to pay the admission fee, get a free admission, see what it's like. The museums that are participating are hoping that you want to come back, but it's a wonderful opportunity to do this on a very tight budget.
And I'm seeing the poster here, and certainly they can go on the website and look at the museums. But some of the museums here that admit 4, and I'm just going to pick them off randomly. You've got the Detroit Children's Museum. You've got Dawson's Great Lake Museum, which was always one of my favorites because you had the little periscope, and of course that was a long time ago when they had sails and everything. You went there before to the Great Lakes Museum, Andy?
Practically grew up there.
There you go. See,
Yeah.
they were working together again. Some of the Pewabic Pottery, the Scarab Club, and some of the other museums that admit too. And again, you can just go in and check these tickets out. Cranbrook Art Museum, which is again one of my favorite. Henry Ford Estate, Fairlane, and there's a list of other museums. So certainly, I'm sure you would urge people to go online and check that out. And that's just one of the many programs that the Royal Oak Public Library is currently offering. Mary, you've been kind of quiet over there. Now I'm gonna focus in on you, if that's okay, Metta. So, tell us what's going on in the children and teen section.
Many programs to bring the kids in, to connect them with literature and just the wider world of information. We started having Tuesday evening family programs. Part of it is I felt that I'm not very good at remembering if something is on the second Tuesday of every month, so we just decided to do it every week, Tuesday evenings. And people had asked for programs who are working parents and couldn't come into our regular story times in the mornings, which we're continuing. But we added the Tuesday evening programs. Thursday evenings we do middle school and high school programs. So again, it's every Thursday with a few little blips when there's holiday times and that sort of thing. But we put in extra programs during spring break and winter break so that there's more things for the people to do when they're out of school. So in general, there's a continuum from lap sit at age 6 months on through high school of things that you can do to participate at the library.
It sounds like one of the goals of the Royal Oak Public Library, and you've been very successful at doing it, Metta, is that you basically bring the kids in and their family early, and you instill that sort of that desire to learn, to read books, and you get kids interested in the library. When I was a kid, we'd go up to the library, and they didn't have movies and videos and stuff. We'd go basically to, read mystery books or whatever, but we'd sometimes stay there the whole afternoon. Sometimes we'd get kicked out. Andy, you get kicked out of libraries before, haven't you?
I hate to admit it, more than once, though, yes.
But you bring the kids in, and even if they're there and they're just reading a magazine, they're in the library, and I imagine a lot of it is absorbed through osmosis. Is that one of your goals of the library? Not osmosis, but
Osmosis
introducing
is a good
kids.
thing.
Yeah, introducing kids and families to the whole wonder of library.
Sure. Sometimes the kids have seen the library before the parents have. But getting the kids in brings the rest of the family. It gives them an accepting feeling that stays with them throughout their lives. And one of the things that was very distressing to me when I was a new librarian back in the old days, I used to tell people tell me that they were not used to going to the library because they did not have a good feeling about the library when they were kids.
Sometimes they were stodgy. They were kind of scared kids away sometimes.
They were. They had to be quiet. They had, it was way too restrictive. And with this renovation, which the community has done a really spectacular thing with the library by allowing it to have its expansion, its renovation. It was a 1962 facility, really had nothing significant done to it in all those years. And the children's department in particular expanded by, 2 or 3 times its original size. They do get a little wild down there, and sometimes we rein them in, but it's really
It's
I
a great.
forgot where I was going with that.
That's okay. It sounded good. We were all hanging on every word.
And then I lost it.
No, I think what you were going to
It's a
say, because we
wonderful
just have a few. It is a wonderful place. That's good. See, that's.
Life is good.
No, and it is a wonderful place, and we just have a few minutes here, and maybe I'll try to finish that thought, because I knew where you were going.
Thank you.
There is a wonderful place at the Royal Oak Library, and the two of you and your staff have done a great job in bringing, refining, if you will, and polishing this, an overused word, jewel of the city, but it truly is, and it's a place where you can go, it's a meeting place, it's a place to learn, and anybody who hasn't been to the library, I urge them to go, and more importantly, you have a great website, which is the
ROPL.org.
ROPL.org, and it's a great and friendly place to go, and you can check books out there. You can do a whole bunch of different crazy things on there.
Yeah.
So I urge everyone out there to visit. That's what you were going to say, right?
I was. Do you have a moment for me to plug one other service?
Certainly.
Yeah.
Yep, we've got about a minute left. So
okay, so the website brings you databases for fun and for this business research that I was talking about before. We've had a lot of people talk to us about, I've had 2 or 3 people in the last 3 weeks tell me that they were getting ready to learn a new language, German or Japanese or whatever. So we have this new database called Mango that you can go on to, and at your own pace, you can teach yourself conversational languages. I think there's, 6 or 8 languages.
That's another program that's just, people
it's
don't know
there.
about it. Yeah.
And then the other one is
You can do it 24/7.
So you can do it online.
24/7
Yes.
online,
It
completely
does not
online.
have to be in the roof under the
That's
in the
right.
building.
See, that's
You've got
and that's all
remote
explained
access.
on your website, and those are some of the programs.
It is. It
That's
is.
great.
Then people are excited about talking books. I drive a lot, so I listen. I actually listen to books more than I read them, and I borrow them from the library. But the other thing is that we
You
now
return them
have.
on time, I hope.
I always
Okay.
return my books on time.
Like we would ever know.
But you can now download these in digital format onto your MP3. You can do
great.
that directly from the website 24/7.
Mary and Metta, thank you very much for coming on the show. It was really a pleasure to have you here, and I urge people to go on the website, visit the library, and try to take advantage of all the things that you have to offer. We're going to leave right now, or we're going to hope you maybe come back in just a little while. But ladies and gentlemen, Metta Lansdale and Mary Karshner, thanks a lot. Don't go away. We're going to have a few moments from Mr. Positive. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Royal Oak Show. I have a Royal Oaker, C.H. Miller. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, Colin.
We are proud to have you on this program once again because, as I said to you earlier today, one of the coolest things about doing this show, other than it pays me the 6 figures that I get, is that you get to meet people that live in the city of Royal Oak that you ordinarily wouldn't run into. And today we're very honored to have you because you are a Royal Oaker, and you're also an established author.
Yeah.
And before I get into, I'm going to tease the audience a little bit, before I get into the book here a little bit, why don't you tell me a little bit about C.H. Miller?
Well, I'm originally from the great state of Alabama, and I always call it the great state of Alabama.
Now, is there something special about that state?
Well, it just happened to have the #1 football team, college football team in the nation, and that would be the Crimson Tide. So
they play the Lions? Do they play them all?
The Lions have been a little bit too easy.
Okay.
So,
all right, our next guest next week will be. So they played last week? Last weekend?
Yes, they did.
Arizona State?
Arizona State, 35-0. They play LSU this week and such. And I'm a long-term Alabama Crimson Tide fan, all the way back to the days of Bear Bryant and such. And remember being a kid out raking leaves and listening to the football games and such. So
that's great to have that kind of football tradition. We used to have that as well. But all right, I'll stop. I promise. What brought you to Royal Oak? Other than, car or train or whatever?
Well, my wife, she constantly visits Royal Oak and such. She really liked the city and such. So we have a little baby now and such, and things slowed down a little bit, and we need to do less driving and such, and closer stores and such, and kind of like and I'm from a small community myself. So we were kind of looking for a small community and such, and that drew us to Royal Oak.
Great, and we're glad to have you. We're really honored that you're here. How long have you been in Royal Oak?
We've been here 2 years now.
2 years, and you like it so far?
I like it.
Think you're going to stick around?
Yeah, a lot of good friends and such. Of course, there's a lot of fun things to do in Royal Oak, really nice restaurants and such.
And you got the Royal Oak Show, too.
Right? At the Royal Oak Show, no doubt about it, top of the list.
You've got a younger child now, right?
Yes, Isabella.
Isabella?
Yeah, she's 18 months.
That's a beautiful name.
Yeah.
So you guys probably don't get out as much as you used to.
Not as much.
You got to find a babysitter and everything else.
Yeah, so I used to frequent this place here in Royal Oak called Sangria.
Oh, great place, great place. I know the owner very well.
Yeah, I used to have the salsa nights there and such. And I was once a well-known salsa dancer, but now I'm a well-known dad.
Not much salsa dancing going on anymore, huh?
That's in the living room.
Now, you brought some people with you tonight. Who did you bring with you?
Well, I brought some good friends. My good buddy Terrence. He's been my partner for a lot of good years and a lot of good projects and such that I do in the community and such. And his wife Kay got married here this summer. My great friend Lori, who I've been knowing for quite a few years. Gary Thomas Bass, another author and such, that has a terrific book we'll find out more about down the road here. And
well, great. I'm glad. I'm welcome everyone. Your friend Kay has the really cool purse, I understand, too. So.
Yeah, Kay is definitely fashion. So,
it's an inside joke, ladies and gentlemen. We'll go into it later. But anyway. Well, all right. Tell me a little bit about the author, C.H. Miller. Now, tell me what inspires him. What gets him up in the morning? What keeps him doing what he does?
Well, what gets me up in the morning and such, what I'm really up to in regard to the book and such, is really seeing individuals reach their top potential and such. And I'm an individual who, had a lot of goals and such, but I found out a few years ago I had a lot of goals, but wasn't really going out to meet those goals and such. So having a breakthrough in that area and such, and I wrote a book and such in regard of really how to go out there and for an individual to really, really go for the things they want to accomplish in life. And I believe that life is such a valuable commodity and such that it's really like a playground if we want to create it to be. And I just really, really believe in individuals' ability and potential.
Well, that's really great. And we're going to get into your book in a little while. We're going to tell people about it and tell them how to get it. But you came here to Michigan. You really didn't start out as an author. I understand you worked in construction for a little while.
Yes. When I first came to Michigan, my uncle ran a construction company here for years. And I was from the small town and such. So I was kind of getting a little bored, to be honest. And my grandma called and said, your uncle runs a company in Michigan, and he's getting ready to wind it down. And he wanted to know if he would be interested in coming up and helping him work with the business. And I said, well, give me a couple of minutes to think about it. So I went to the encyclopedia, looked up Detroit, saw a picture, and said, okay. And that was it.
That's all it took, huh?
That was it. Just one photo.
So you came up here to work on construction or take over a company, and you ended up being an author.
Yeah, just life throws those.
I'm sure there's a little bit more to it than that, but we can get into that in just a little while. In fact, we're going to take a break right now, and we're going to come back, and we're going to get right into your book. Ladies and gentlemen, please don't go anywhere. We're going to be back with a very interesting Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We still have with us C.H. Miller. Thanks again for being patient during that long commercial break. All right, now comes the fun part, because we've heard a little bit about you and what brought you here to Michigan, but now we're going to talk about the author, C.H. Miller. You have what appears to be a very successful book. It's the Landau,
Yes.
The Journey Home by C.H. Miller. And I'm going to hold this up a little bit so that people can get the name and the title. And I know that I'm looking forward to reading it, because you sent me, in preparation for this show, I think we've had enough, not of the book, but of showing the book.
Yeah.
You sent me a little synopsis of the book, and I was reading it, and it was very intriguing, because I know that it was just a synopsis. It was only 3 pages, but it started out one way, and I was thinking, yeah, this is pretty interesting, and then it takes a turn, and I'm going to let you get into that, but it takes a turn, and it was something that I didn't expect. So I'm looking forward to reading the book. What sort of, I guess the term would be genre, what is this called? I'm very simple, and I know fiction and novels, but there's a whole host of other subjects out there. Is that, what would you call this?
I guess most people would say that it has a science fiction spill to it and such, but it's a metaphysical novel. And what I mean by that, or what's meant by that title, is it's a book, it's a novel and such, but the main emphasis, the main purpose behind the book is to really give a message to an individual, again, about possibilities in their lives and just ways in which they can enhance their lives. So it's a story, but there's a story within the story. So,
well, there's no exception here. I mean, on the back of the jacket, if I could, it says that you create the world that you live and have the power to change it. And then it talks about Lance. It says Landau has ventured into a world where life is lived in the moment, and he will find out soon reality is a state of mind.
Yeah.
Now, the character Lance seems to be pretty intriguing. He starts out kind of like most of us do at any given time, kind of down on your luck, a little bored with his life, and something happens to him to really change his life. And what is it that happens to him, and where does Lance come from, and where is he going?
well, Lance is, to me, represents really what's happening a lot in life and such. Is that sometimes in life and such we can just kind of like drift through life, or just get stuck with the ordinary routines of the day and such. But inside, and I believe inside of all of us, we have really big dreams and such, but sometimes the mind comes in and says, yeah, it's not possible, and we kind of listen to that voice instead of listening to our heart. And Lance is a character that has that inside of him. He really wants to contribute and such to the world, and some things happen and such. But there is the little spin that you're speaking of is the fact that he ends up in another world. And I've always been a big fan of Rod Sterling and such. He wrote the classic Twilight Zone shows and such. And just when you think these characters are going one way, they end up going this way and such. But Lance ends up in a space where people have been pretty much mind conditioned and such, and he's not able to be conditioned and such. So he really goes out to save other individuals from being controlled, in short.
He almost ends up, and again, I don't know how it ends because you only gave me the synopsis, and I'm sure you left a few of the key stuff out, which is good. But it almost seems that he's leading one sort of life, and then something happens to him, and he has the opportunity to do what he really thought that he was meant to be to begin with. So, what was your inspiration for Lance? Is there a little bit of Lance inside C.H. Miller?
Well, I hope so. But I was reading the newspaper article once. It was about this little small town in Japan and such, where they had these intercom announcements about really how to cooperate with your neighbor and such. And it's kind of different. And just walking with the story in my mind and such, I began to come up with these different plots and such. And the book just took off from there and such. And so it's always, you know, as far as creativity and inspiration and such, it could be anything. You know, you could be in a bookstore or meet a person and such, and these stories just evolve and such. But
when you sit down to, you know, we've had a few authors on the show, and again, I think it's always interesting, and I'm beginning to build my library up because I get to keep these books. I don't have to pay for them. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe I am.
No, you don't.
Annie, cut him a check, will you? But one of the things that always intrigues me is because everyone says they wake up in the morning and say, you know, I want to write a book. Everybody thinks they can be an author, but there's a lot of work that goes into it. I mean, you didn't sit down and write this overnight, did you? How long did it take?
Oh, it took about 2 years. You know, so with myself, you know, working and such, it's amazing when you begin to write a book or take on any project that you're really inspired by. You find out that you'll find the time. Matter of fact, that project will begin to take over the individual. So I remember plenty of mornings, you know, I generally wake up at 6 o'clock and such. And I would wake up and just say, oh, it's 6 o'clock already? So I would write before going to work. And actually it would be 4:30 in the morning. And so I would just, you know, sit at the desk or whatever, you know, 4:30 till 6, 7 o'clock in the morning is writing. Then after work, you know, writing and such. But, and I'm sure many authors out there can agree with me and such. Once you get to writing and such, again, that book will.
It takes you over a little bit,
It
right?
definitely does that. So.
Does the character, is the character, we just have a couple more minutes. I want to make sure I tell people how to get your book, but is the character born and it begins to develop, and sometimes you don't even know where the character is going to go?
Exactly.
And that's what makes it interesting.
Exactly. A book definitely, it's not easy, such as the research paper. You get on these topics and such and get source information and such. They build on themselves.
So you don't even know where Lance is going to go when you started, when he was born?
No, not at all.
You can get your book anywhere, hopefully soon in the Royal Oak Public Library. I see Mary's still sitting out there, so you'll tell Metta about this.
Yeah.
But also, I'm going to hold it up one more time. You can get it at Amazon.com.
Amazon.com, Borders, BarnesandNobles.com, all the major book outlets.
Do you have a website that somebody could call? Or
I have a MySpace site and such. So when you go into MySpace, you can type in C.H. Miller or Lance Labos, and it has all my contact information in regards of how to get the book, and also for readers who want to send me a message and let me know what they thought about the book, or if they have any questions, it's available also for that.
Are we going to see another piece of work from C.H. Miller?
Yes.
All right. Are you working on something now?
Yeah.
You're not going to tell us what it's about, are you?
Not quite yet.
Okay,
Next show.
Yeah, there you go. I like this guy. You promise to come back when your next work is completed?
I would love to.
Well, good. Thank you very much for being on the show, and I really appreciate you coming on, and all the best in your future ventures.
Thank you.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. And thanks once again to C.H. Miller.
Join us on the next Royal Oak Show in studio December 8th, when our guests will be Diane DeVico and the Candy Band. Please come back. The Royal Oak Show will return in a moment.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to announce a funny man. He's the second time back here on the Royal Oak Show. He had so much fun. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Dave Landau.
That's nice. I love living in Michigan. It's awesome. I'm looking forward to the winter. No more construction. I do love the construction everywhere, though. I love those signs, $7,500 fine if you kill or injure a worker. I'm saving up. If you guys want to get a pool together, we can rent a bus. Take some people out. You want to do it? It'll be fun. Last weekend was interesting for me. I went to my cousin's wedding, and she was pregnant. Yeah, she wasn't even trying to hide it either. The invitation actually said, "What else can you do? The stick turned blue." I gave baby clothes. It seemed right. It seemed fair. I got a good family, though. The other day, I went over to my grandma's house, set up her voicemail. She's 90. I don't know if you ever shown any old people how to work technology, but it's like teaching a cat how to play poker. And I got her to leave the greatest voice message ever. It actually says, I always pick up the phone because I haven't left the house in 5 years. So if you've reached this message, I'm dead. It's a good one. Before I went over there, my mom calls me and she goes, I just want to let you know that your grandma is very, very sick. And apparently the correct response to that is not cha-ching, cha-ching. You're a little iffy on that. It's all right. She's had a good life. I'm broke. Anybody else broke? Yeah. One guy. We do live in Michigan. I don't believe you if you say you're rich. I hate being broke. And you know how you know when you're really broke is when you're at the grocery store and you realize you can't afford name brand cereal. So you got to reach down to the bottom shelf and grab that big dog food size bag of Trailer Puffs. Yeah, nothing makes you feel poor than eating a big bowl of Down on your Lucky Charms. There's nothing. Those go good with ramen noodles, and it's all a glass of shame. I love ramen noodles. They're a quarter. I put teriyaki on them. Doesn't have to taste like welfare. That's how I roll. That's how I do it. I like to watch TV, let you know about myself. It's a hobby of mine because I'm fat. Yeah, I have stretch marks, which is awesome. I remember when my wife first saw them, she was like, what are those? It's like got in a fight with a Wolverine, baby. And they're showing on TV that they're now building prototypes of flying cars. I don't know where they're building them. Probably not Detroit, where I'm from. But flying cars, you know, it seems like a good idea. I like the Jetsons. But judging by the number of car accidents I see a day, I'm not sure if the human race has quite mastered ground traveling vehicles at this point. Plus, I don't know if you own a car, but mine's a giant piece of junk, all right? It's awful. I don't know how high above the earth I'd want to be hovering in it. I can just imagine my friend getting a call like, hey, Chris, yeah, Dave died. Oh, my God, what happened? His car stalled. Dropped like 300 feet. They don't need to build flying cars or electric cars. They should build cars that run on the heads of oil executives. That's how I feel. I'd buy that gas. Gas is low right now. Don't let it fool you before an election. I hate when gas gets high. I really do. I hate when people defend it. I was watching the show, and there's this guy going, gas is one of the cheapest liquids in this country. For example, this gallon of orange juice costs $4.19. Like, oh, that's flawless logic. Except for the fact that every 4 days, I don't have to buy 20 gallons of orange juice. Maybe I'll care when my car runs on citrus. But until then, lower. We got the election coming up. This will probably air after the election. I'd like to see Barack win. I'm going to be honest. Yeah, just to see the look on the Klan's face when that happens. I think that'll be all. Why? Are you in the Klan? I didn't mean to offend. People didn't like Hillary, though, that's for sure. And I don't know why. I'd like to see a woman president. How about you guys? Yeah. That'd be pretty cool. Like, can you imagine winning a war with the silent treatment? That's why we got to get him in office. Healthcare might get lower from Barack, and I need that because I'm a smoker. I'm trying to quit. I am. I know it's bad. I love how there's still warning labels on cigarettes, though. Like, if you smoke these, you'll die. Good times. And I was in Canada recently, and they actually put pictures of the diseases you can get on the pack of cigarettes. Oh, that's a treat. Yeah. Hey, I'll take a pack of the bloody lung tumors. No, don't put in a bag. I'll have one now. My point is there's tons of stuff we do to our bodies that can end up having negative results. And where are those overtly cruel warning labels? Let's put them on everything. I want to see a picture of like an 800-pound person on a box of fudge sickles. Or somebody attractive waking up next to somebody ugly on a case of beer. Or a picture of a minivan on a box of condoms. No offense, son. I don't want kids. I used to. Don't think I'm that bad. 3 weeks ago, though, I had to go to my buddy's son's birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese. Have you been there? Yeah. 300 screaming kids running around. I was sitting there playing skeet ball, trying to win enough tickets to get a vasectomy. And I really don't want kids because I'm a twin. I have a twin brother, and I know I'm going to have twins, and I know I'm going to like one more than the other. I know I will. My dad likes my brother more than me because he was good at sports. My dad was our Little League coach. I was so bad at baseball. He used to make me wear a jersey with another kid's last name on it. I remember when he gave it to me, I was like, who's adopted? I got some stupid people in my family, too. I really do. I got a cousin that blew off all of his fingers except for his thumbs with a firework. We call him Accidental Fonzie. Every time I see him, I'm like, ayy. He hates it. It's hilarious, though, yeah. So what can I end this on? We just had Halloween. Was that exciting for everybody? I did not like Halloween because when I was a kid, we were poor. So I used to have to wear a garbage bag and go as a raisin. Yeah, people were always like, what are you supposed to be? I was like, oh, white trash. Thank you, guys. My name's Dave Landau. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, all right.
Hey, thanks a lot, Dave. That's funny.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dave.
Hey, welcome back to the Royal Oak Show.
Yes.
I just want you to know that my 10-year-old son's out there now. I got to answer a bunch of questions
Yeah,
tonight.
I'm sorry about that.
First question he's going to say is, Dad, what's skee ball?
That'll be the tricky one.
He's going to want to go to Chuck E. Cheese's, too, so you're stuck.
Yeah,
well,
why don't we
maybe he's a
drive
little
a
past
minivan?
that.
You're going to have fun there. Do you have a minivan?
I have a minivan.
Do you see my point?
Yes, exactly. And I play a lot of skee ball, too.
Exactly.
Now I do.
Yes.
I'll explain that later.
Sorry.
Hey, what have you been up to, man, since you've been on the Royal Oak Show?
I've appeared on Comedy Central's Live at Gotham, and I did another season of Last Comic Standing, and I actually just got back from a tour performing for the troops.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How'd that go?
Really, really well. It was kind of sad, though. We did a lot of military hospitals and everything.
Oh, did you?
And yeah, there was definitely a sad level to it, but it was really nice to go out there and give them some comedy because they really, really needed it.
Did you find them to be a good audience? I mean,
Yeah, they actually were. I mean, I don't think that they get much humor out there, so anything works pretty well.
That's really nice of you to do that.
Who else were you there with?
I was there with a guy named Tom Foss,
Okay.
a guy named Jay Larson, and a guy named Steve Bills, and Steve's actually a local Detroit guy, too.
Great.
So they have you right up on the front lines, or were you?
No, we weren't armed. They don't give you a gun.
Okay. Just your rapier-like wit, right?
Yeah, they'll give you like the Kevlar vest and stuff. You feel like one of the village people, though. That's about it.
Well, that's pretty nice of you to do that, though. I mean, that really is.
Yeah, it's a good thing. They pay me, so it's.
But you probably would have done it without pay, though, right?
Yeah, I actually would have.
What's in store?
No, I wouldn't.
That's why I'm still doing cable. You know.
That is amazing that they pay. How do you get there? You get there in military jet or
Yeah, they fly you out.
like in the cargo hold, or how does that?
Yeah, they fly you out. Yeah, they just kind of stuff you in there.
Get over the drop zone and kind of throw you out.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. You just parachute out.
You forgot your bottled water.
Yeah.
You know, throw it out after you.
Throw you a mic, and you just kind of perform there in the desert.
I remember last time you were here, you were on Last Comic Standing, correct?
Yes, I'm now in my third season, so
How's that going for you?
So I'm on my third season.
You're still standing.
I'm nowhere near the last comic at this point, but I progress more and more every year, and I get some good NBC exposure, so I can't complain.
And you also get some exposure on the Royal Oak Show too.
Exactly. And thank you.
You hone your skills here and go out, and share it with the troops.
Exactly.
Was it your exposure here as your springboard to the NBC stuff? Would you have to say?
Yes.
Okay.
Or was it your springboard to the front lines?
Both. It was a little bit of both.
What's in store for you from here on out?
Just going to be touring around, just everywhere. I'll be at the Comedy Castle in April. And then, I'll just be all over. If you go to davelandau.com, too, because I'm now plugging stuff.
Yeah, you have to do that. Yeah.
You can check that out. There's a whole tour schedule.
We'll probably have it running underneath your picture repeatedly, back and forth, your website.
Right here? Can you put it right here?
Yeah. See that?
That'd
Technology.
be a good shot.
So you're going to be doing anything
petting
for
it? Okay.
anything for Christmas? You got any big plans?
No.
Okay.
I'm going to go get drunk and try to ignore my relatives.
Oh, just like everybody does.
Like every Christmas, yes. No, I don't get good at anything on Christmas. Is everything all right back there?
Yeah, we're having some.
Oh,
We're having
okay.
technical difficulties,
Oh,
but
I'm
that's
sorry.
okay. This is cable. This is cable.
This is what we do.
This is raw
The
frontline stuff
bowels
here.
of broadcasting. Yeah, you are.
I would have thought of a different word, but I mean, we'll go with that one. That's all.
It's accurate, though. You know
It
that.
is accurate.
I'm not a big fan of Christmas. I always get people good stuff, so I think, but I never get good stuff. Like my grandma, she's loaded. Last year she got me slipper socks.
Those are the best ones, yeah.
Nothing says I don't like you like a $4 pair of slipper socks.
Is this the same grandma you set up the voicemail for?
Yes, yes,
Okay,
it
well,
is.
there you go.
Yeah, see, she's still upset about the message. The funny thing is she can't figure out how to turn it off and reset it, so it stays.
How about for Thanksgiving? You having people over your house?
I'm gonna get drunk and try to avoid my relatives.
There's a pattern here I see developing. Andy, you see any pattern
I'm
here?
seeing it's just, yes, there's a constant with Dave's life here.
And I would imagine New Year's holds the same.
New Year's I'll be doing a show.
Oh, well, there
so
you go.
I'll be
And
doing
so they'll get
comedy
drunk
and
and-
avoiding my relatives. Yeah.
Where are you going to be playing New Year's?
New Year's Eve I'll be at the Holly Hotel in Holly, Michigan.
Oh, that's a cool place. Right,
Yeah.
Was it Battle Alley?
Battle Alley, yeah. It's actually a really cool venue if you guys have never been. It just seats about 70 people, but it's a blast. It's a really fun room.
That's where Carrie Nation had her big start. You know who Carrie Nation is?
No.
Okay, well, we're dying here, Andy. Let's move on.
No. Enlighten us, Carlo. I mean, you
No,
brought
it's a long
it
story.
up
It's a
now.
long story.
We'd like to know about Carrie Nation.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, we would.
Somebody didn't like to drink a lot, and so that's probably why we don't know her.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're all alcoholics to avoid our family.
We have large families too, so
Do you have a large family?
yeah, we did. Yeah. Until I figured out how to avoid them all.
Exactly, yeah.
Or maybe they avoided me. I don't know. I'm stuck with my 10-year-old now, so I
Yeah,
guess
just him.
drive home in the
It's like, where
minivan.
did everybody go?
Well, where are you going to be? Right after here, you're going to be in April. You're going to be at the Comedy Club, but there's a big gap there
There's a
between
big
November
gap.
and.
This week I just have some private parties around Detroit. Next week I will be in Appleton, Wisconsin, at the Skyline Comedy Cafe.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
As always, Dave, thank you very
Thank
much
you
for
for
coming
having
down.
me.
Andy
I
and I
appreciate
are
it.
always happy to have
Thank
you
you
here.
very
Hopefully,
much.
you come
Dave,
back for
funny
third.
stuff,
Thank
man.
you very
Good
much.
job.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight. The audience, our staff here tonight. We got Metta Lansdale, Mary, who's still toughing it out with us. C.W. Miller is still with us in here, and as always, Dave Landau. Thanks again. Until the next time, the Royal Oak Show, Andy and I are saying, we got to go. Thank you.